How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This is from 1964, directed by Larry Roemer, and produced by Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass. This is a Rankin and Bass animated Christmas special, and actually, the very first one. That's pretty cool. The first one and the most famous one, hence why on this nice Blu-ray box set, we get Rudolph front and center. This movie stars Billie Mae Richards, Paul Soles, Larry D. Mann, and is hosted by Burl Ives as Sam the Snowman, and he of course gets some great songs in. This is of course based on the poem by Robert May, which would later get adapted into a song by Johnny Marks, and now we have the animation. And yeah, this is an absolute Christmas classic. It's one that I watch pretty routinely every single year. My mom has a little Sam the Snowman ornament on the Christmas tree, and it's just one of those things that you have to do it. Over the course of almost 60 years that the special's been around, it's become such a thing in Christmas, but also in pop culture in general. And I don't know, maybe it's the hour-long time block to really flesh things out. Maybe it's just the way that it has this weird but quirky and iconic atmosphere behind it. I mean, the strange things the special does, like an elf that wants to be a dentist, or calling an abominable snowman a bumble, or the island of misfit toys. There's so many strange, fun little things the special has done that really have worked their way into the Christmas unconscious of our culture. And yeah, no, it's absolutely iconic, but plus with a really good positive message. Rudolph and Hermes are a couple of misfits, and they're going out trying to find their place in the world, and the special has a message of maybe you feel like you don't belong, but there is a place and a purpose for you, and a lot of kids go through times feeling like that, and this special, I feel, is super important, and you gotta love it. It's a nearly perfect Christmas movie. To be honest, I've seen it twice this year. I watch it pretty much every year, but this year I was like, yo, I'm watching it an extra time. Yeah, it's great. It's good. Go watch it if you somehow haven't. I'm going to talk a little bit about the plot now in order to do a bit of a deeper analysis and talk about some of the things I want to. I'll try to be avoiding major spoilers, but that being said, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and if you've heard the song, you know a good chunk of the ending, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about it. We open up with Sam the Snowman talking about how if he lives to be 100, he'll never forget the year with the big storm. And actually, right before this, we did get some live-action footage and some newspapers, which I always thought was kind of weird, but a little bit of foreshadowing, a hook, a question, what happened on the year of the big storm, and he also makes this fun little joke, you've never seen a talking snowman before? And no, we hadn't, because Frosty the Snowman wouldn't come out till 1969, so maybe they knew they were gonna do that, or at least hope so? Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, Sam gets into his story, and he starts telling us about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and we cut to shortly after the reindeer's birth. Strangely, he's just been born and he's already talking a little bit. I guess reindeer grow up pretty fast, huh? But anyway, his parents see that he has a shiny nose, and Santa comes in, and Donner's trying to dismiss it. Oh, it's just a phase, it's a baby thing. He'll grow up and he'll grow out of it. And Santa strangely says, I hope so, if he wants to grow up to be a big, strong sleigh reindeer. Which I always thought was kind of odd. I get the other reindeer judging him, but you wouldn't think that Santa, who's supposed to be this big and pure character, you think that he wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe it's a case of misunderstanding and tension, or Maybe Santa's worried that it will lure the Bumble to the North Pole. I don't know. It's the one part that I'm not the biggest fan of. But anyway, Donner decides to hide Rudolph's shiny nose, putting a little cap over it. And I do like the three-dimensionality of the Donner character. First off, it's cool they let one of the main reindeer be Rudolph's parent. But Donner, in a modern movie, would be either 100% good or 100% evil. Everything is so mushed and watered down these days. But Donner here is a good three-dimensional character that I really do find his portrayal interesting. He is mean and he doesn't let Rudolph be the person that he is, but at the same time, when Rudolph will eventually get discovered, the reindeer are in fact mean to him. Donner is mean to his son, but it's because he's trying to protect his son from a world that he knows is cruel. And I do like later on, after Rudolph runs off, Donner is legitimately sad and regretful at what he's done. I love that he's three-dimensional and he's a flawed character. You really don't get that nowadays. But anyway, Rudolph, with the cap on his nose, goes to the reindeer games and he meets a friend named Fireball. Yeah, I knew a few kids back in the day that should have been named Fireball, to be honest, but Fireball notices one of the does really likes Rudolph and says, hey, go over there and talk to her. And that is Clarice, and the two of them really hit it off so much that Rudolph starts flying early, and his nose falls off, and everyone sees he has a shiny nose, and it's actually the reindeer games teacher that kicks him out. Gee, that's pretty cruel. Reindeer culture is apparently super hard, and he walks off alone. Well, what else is going on at the North Pole? We have Santa and Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus is trying to fatten Santa up, saying the kids will be disappointed with a thin Santa. But that being said, he's supposed to come when you're asleep, and also, I think the kids care more about the gifts than how much Santa weighs. Gotta watch out for his health, but I guess he's immortal, so whatever. And I also do like you have this grumpy boss elf who keeps saying, you need to work. He's a very serious elf, but he's also an elf, so he takes the songs very seriously, and they're singing this little We Are Santa's Elf song, and Santa is just annoyed by it, which I thought was kind of funny, a bit of a self-aware moment in this little musical. But all that aside, the big thing with the elves is the elf Hermes, who doesn't want to build toys, but he's an elf and he's supposed to. He wants to be a dentist. Are you telling me there's no healthcare at all up at the North Pole? Whatever. But also, he doesn't have the pointed ears that the other elves do, which I thought is really strange. This is canonically in the same universe as the Will Ferrell movie Elf. Did Santa kidnap another human by mistake? I don't know. But anyway, Hermes wants to be a dentist. He even tries just doing the teeth on the dolls, and his boss says, we really don't need you to do that, which is a little detail that I like is included, because so many times when you're feeling off with a project, you try to find some area that you can help, and a lot of times you get told, we don't need you to do that. So I like that that was included here. But anyway, Hermes, not being able to do his dream either, is an outcast, and him and Rudolph meet and sing the Misfits song, unless you've seen the 65 version where they sing Fame and Fortune instead, which is a weird pick, to be honest, but whatever. They're a couple of misfits, and they walk out into the frozen abyss and find that life away from society is hard. And they find that Rudolph's shining, glowing nose is attracting the abominable snowman. It's great that there's a monster in this. I mean, you find out later he's kind of a goofball monster, but still, kids' shows used to be a little tougher. And watch out for the abominable snowman. Anyway, to guide them along their way, they'll eventually meet Yukon Cornelius, who is a character I really love. He's that adventurer stereotype. I'm Yukon Cornelius, the great explorer, and he's looking for silver and gold, but at the same time, he is just kind of silly and, you know, a general good guy. Like, you see the dogs pulling his sleigh, and they're not sled dogs. You can tell it's just different dogs that he's found over the years. Like, here's a little a little beagle and a little poodle, go pull my sleigh, and it's just this random collection of things that he's found. He's fun, but also I love this group, Rudolph, Hermes, and Cornelius. Like, Cornelius doesn't even come until about the halfway point, and the special is only an hour-long time block, but somehow these three just form a good group, and you really buy their friendship. It's good chemistry, what can I say? They go on a bunch of adventures, and the thing is, Rudolph at its core is a traveling fantasy film, and so many films of the day would be super random and episodic when you get to this section, and Rudolph really is more focused than that. A lot of it is just running from the Bumble, and then you get the Island of Misfit Toys being the only real episodic moment, but it ties in thematically because Rudolph and Hermes are misfits, so are the toys, but Rudolph and Hermes aren't toys, so they don't really even fit in there. And it is such a cool and crazy concept, and all these little side characters that are only on screen for a couple minutes. I mean, how many of the Island of Misfit Toys can you name just off the top of your head? It's pretty cool. And their king is a griffin named something like King Moonranger, who searches the whole earth every night for misfit toys. So yeah, it gets a little crazy, but whatever. Anyway, I won't spoil any farther than that in the special. Needless to say, we get a fun ending and some really cool moments, and everybody has a nice happy ending. Overall, this is a fun little special. The hour time block gives it more time to breathe. It's a fun adventure, and even the tiny little side characters I really do like. This is really the reason that we associate stop motion animation with Christmas, for crying out loud. Definitely a classic, definitely recommend it, and definitely check it out. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my 2023 Christmas Marathon playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about more Christmas movies and also some more Rankin and Bass stuff, you can find that in there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.